please welcome to the stage Public Affairs Director for the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, Reverend Fred Schaub.
If I was standing before a therapist right now, and I said to him, I came out on stage and they gave me a warm welcome, but they didn't have the smoke going up. and that Mike and Colleen had. Don't fix me before I'm finished being depressed. They put me up behind Corey, who's an excellent speaker. They put me before John, which puts pressure on me. And then I was offended that the really smart people went first and I came after that. That would be enough to be put on psychiatric medication. If a child is taken from their parents, and then a social worker or a psychiatrist walks up to the child who is now in a foreign environment, they're away from their parents, they don't know anybody, they can't talk to anybody they know, and you walk up and ask them, "Are you sad?" I think the answer would be yes. So why are we drugging them for having a normal reaction? If my wife, stand up, Andrew. Stand up. If my wife left me, and I like my wife, if she left me, I would most likely be depressed, but I don't need a pill. I would just need the skill to get her back, and my depression would be gone.
Yeah.
If I'm a poor man who can't, poor people, because I might be a poor man, poor people, if they can't pay their bills, if they can't feed their family, I would think that depression is a normal state. So why do we drug them for something that is actually normal? I've seen poor people that if they hit the lottery, they would all of a sudden be cured. The reason I'm bringing this up, and before I continue, first of all, Mike, Colleen, thank you guys for putting this on. This is the future of medicine. This is how we get out of this trap. I thank you for being brave enough to take this on. And I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one, I think, being followed by people that might bump you off. But in this work is hard. But if we're going to deal with the depressions, if we're going to deal with these so-called diagnoses, they need to be able to make sense. You cannot, if I see somebody I love be killed or murdered, or even get the news, the natural reaction since Cain killed Abel has been depression or sadness. So if that's a natural reaction, why are we drugging people for doing what people do? And why are we using drugs to fix the problem instead of giving people the ability to cope with the situation and how to override those situations? What happened to the therapist couch? It became too expensive. I talked to the top psychiatrist in LA County some years ago, and I accused him of drugging kids with less than 7 minutes of evaluation, and he admitted it. I said, "Why would you do that?" He said, "We don't have the time to counsel all of them." So this isn't about mental health. This is about mental control. When you give a person anything for health, they are supposed to get better. If I have a bad leg and when you fix it and I'm walking good and moving good, you'll say that he has a healthy leg. If it's not fixed, then there's still a problem with the leg. So all I'm saying is that we need to start looking at this from a far more serious perspective. Because right now, they are moving to make it where it's mandatory for all the homeless to be put on psychiatric drugs. Who's next? Poor people. Who's after that? You. So we have to understand that when you defend the least of these, we're actually defending ourselves. One of the things that I have at our museum is a quote by J.R. Reese in 1940. He said, "We have made a useful attack on a number of professions, and the two easiest of them naturally is the educational system and the church." You had to take out the educators and religion. You had to destroy the idea of God being able to protect people and put in the idea that prayer had to be replaced with appeal. And the money is being shifted from the prison system to where now they're trying to make them all mental health centers. And this is being done as we go along with our daily lives, as we work hard, as we push forward. And it's only a few of us that seem to be awakened to the point that this is intended to enslave society. Now, I know Corey said you got to give 30% negative and 70% positive. But this is my first day hearing that. So I just have to give it like it is. We had somebody from Delphi, Brother Speed. When they brought in these drugs, it was to help the kids focus. The kids were having problems focusing. At the time that they did that, we were 9th in the world in education. Now we're 35 or 6 in the world. So the focus thing did not work. When we look at the fact that they have been very successful in attacking the church, because in New York, I had to go out there, they're attaching mental health centers to the church and have the pastors pointing out who's mentally ill. You might not think that you're at war, but you are actually in a war because you are the ones that's intended to be on these drugs, to be for every little thing. My grandbaby is 6 years old. She's brilliant. One of them smart, grown kids, even as a kid. And she would go to school, and one day she just starts singing. Teacher told her to be quiet. She just kept singing. Teacher threatened to go get the principal. She just kept singing. They brought the principal in. They brought a counselor in. She just kept singing. He threatened to go get her mother. She's singing, singing, singing. Now, this is a kid that they starting, okay, there's one. But all I did was tell my daughter, tell them to make her assistant to the teacher. And as soon as they did that, she started helping the other kids, and that behavior disappeared. The only thing is that she's in the 2nd grade and supposed to be in the 1st grade, and she's smart like that, and she's bored, and so we drug them to handle problems that the teachers haven't been able to figure out. Now, I'm not here to attack teachers because teachers do a heck of a job. They spend money out of their own pockets. They do that, but the system has not allowed them to do what they're supposed to do, and it don't give them the time to do what they need to do. And so we have to look at it from that perspective. Another thing is the mere fact that as you attack a society's religion, and the Bible it says, fear not him who can kill the body and cannot kill the soul, but fear him who can kill the body and the soul, which is in hell. Well, I can tell you from all of the people that I've talked to, or most of them, that these drugs put you in hell. And they actually destroy the soul of the individual. And I'm intentionally pushing it like this right now. I'm not trying to make anybody happy. I'm not trying to make anybody think they're being entertained. I'm coming to you with a problem that is killing America and it's killing our children. The moment they attack our children and we don't stand up and we go along to get along, we are forfeiting our future. If the children are the future and they're drugged up, if the children are our future and they're like zombies, if the children are our future and they can't think, then we have a problem. And we are the only ones that can defend them. See, the vote can outdo the money. The reason politicians need the money is so they can get the votes. If the masses do grassroots, and start working on this program, if enough of you get challenged to stand up, you know the truth. But how are you going to be able to help somebody who is getting permanent damage and tics and mouth movements and losing motor skills if they are electroshocking and drugging people with drugs that they say do it? Don't believe me. Believe the commercials. The commercial tells you suicidal tendencies and homicidal tendencies and all of these. The commercial says it. But we hear it every day and we let it go past us. If we say David can beat Goliath, if we say that we can stand up and show courage, like Mike, like speakers here, like most of you who on your own way stand up and fight. If we're willing to do that, shoulder to shoulder, we can change the face of medicine. And let me tell you, there's more agreement to this than people think. Because I was at my doctor the other day, and I said, I don't want any psychoactive drugs. And he said, oh, no, we're not giving any bad medicines. He said that. A doctor said that. Oh, no, at our hospital, the doctors decide what we use. We're not going there. He even mentioned, God be my witness as a minister, he even said that we don't want to be part of the payment system. Because a lot of times the medical professionals get money through pharmaceutical reps and things like that. We don't get the money. If I tell you to take a drug, I get no kickback. He's talking to a patient saying that. I started just to say, okay, let me give you some spiritual counseling here, because I know you got something going on in the background that you can come to this decision. But we must be able to look at this. And we can't be afraid. You know, we're afraid of disagreement. What did our friends think? Well, my friends think I'm crazy, you know, but they listen to me. They follow me. They're willing to work with me. I'm down in Los Angeles working with all types of groups, the National Action Network, the NAACP, United Hood Nation, all of these groups, Ceasefire, on and on and on. I'm down there giving them that message. Sometime I get attacked. I go to Southwest College. Psychologist gets all excited. Some other lady that's a teacher starts screaming, oh, Lord, what is he saying? And all of this stuff. I don't care about that. I really don't care. I say, oh, I got them. They upset. They flipping out. Psychiatrists come up to me in Africa. You're manipulating the people. Okay? Guilty. How many people have you cured? How many people have you cured? How many people? I'm on a bullhorn, so he's stupid in the first place. You know what I'm saying? He's going up against somebody on a bullhorn. How many people have you cured? You haven't cured anybody. I said, I'm asking you in front of all these people. He did like this. Never. Never. How much we spend? 190 billion or more on mental health? And you never cured anybody? Most of us have cured people on accident. And they can't cure anybody? I've debated them from Morehouse University to UC Irvine, Harvard professors, got the same record as Mayweather. Never been beat. One debate was so bad that I stopped and I said, how can I debate you on your profession? You can't debate me on the Bible. It's like it was a mismatch to the point that he shouldn't even have been saying he was a psychiatrist. One of them. I said, doctor, some children actually drop dead from these psychiatric drugs. He says, you're a minister. It's about 250 people in the audience. You're a minister. I'm a psychiatrist. I know that only happens in rare cases. Okay? You don't know who you're messing with. I said, there's 250 people here. Point out the rare cases for me. What do you mean? It's 250 people. Let's say 3 is rare. Point out the 3 people who have died. There's no way of telling that. One of the mothers said, what? He got up and left. It's that simple because there's no science behind this at all. This is not, you guys study the bones and how the muscles operate, and you can determine how to take my pain out of my back and out of my neck. And I've been to chiropractors, and you guys got so many different popping techniques, and then the energy seems to come through the body, and you say, okay, and then you're ready to step out. How come they can't do that? How come they can't change your condition? And so we are faced with today a money-making scheme where the mental health professional, the psychiatrists is who I'm mainly dealing with, because nobody's against mental health, but we are against psychiatric abuse. And these people are not delivering the product for the money that they get to reap. Wouldn't it be so nice, John, to be able to go create a crisis and then get paid to fix it? I mean, that's like a fireman setting fires and then come running up in his truck to put it out. I mean, that's what's actually going on. And so we must be able to stand up against this. There's 4 types of people in the world. There are those who make things happen. That's most of you. You're making things happen. There are those who carefully study and see what is happening. That's probably most of the rest of you. And then there are those who wake up and wonder what happened. And then now you got a class that don't even know that something has happened. And we got to make sure that we wake them up. I keep saying we, because I'm not Martin Luther King, I'm not Jesus, I'm not Muhammad, I'm not none of them. I need help. So I'm saying that we have to do it. This is the perfect form, because I bet every chiropractor in here knows 10 chiropractors. And look how fast we could multiply the numbers. Look how fast we could change things. But if we sit back and depend on the system, and if we haven't seen how they've screwed up the system already, I don't know what it would take to wake us up. But if we sit back and depend on the system, and we decide we don't want to get involved, and that's not what I do, And, but then when your turn comes, or when your child comes, my sister, her daughter was taking ecstasy. And we don't know what else she took, but she flipped out. They took her to a mental hospital, and my sister, who was a licensed social worker and a program analyst for probation, goes to the hospital and say, she's been taking ecstasy, don't give her a drug on top of a drug. That makes sense to most of us. If you've just been tripping out on a drug, then you don't need to have another hallucinogenic put on top of that. The psychiatrist looked at her and said, she's 19, she belongs to me. Said that to a black mother. So by the time my sister head come back around, she's on the phone calling me using some words that I can't use as a minister, saying I need help. I go down, greet the medical doctor, introduce myself to the psychiatrist, and I continued to hold his hand. And I said, I'm doing research. Actually, I'm writing a book called my cousin wrote a book called Jack and Jill, Why They Kill. And then I'm writing a book called Who Killed Jack and Jill? Okay? And I held his hand and I said to him, I said, I'm writing a book on the good and evil of psychiatric drugs. And I'm not finished with it. And he got the idea, you know, the little Jedi mind trick. He got the idea that he might end up in the book. And he bit his lip and stepped back and ran over to the little folder and put no drugs. Because these people know that they only getting away with bullying. That's all they do. They bully patients. I had to take, I don't want y'all to think I'm mentally ill. I got all these episodes going on in my head. But I was working a job and there were some very evil people running the company. And they were messing over, firing people for no cause, people who had real high stats. Like I took the safety department, which was in obscurity, and put it in the top 10 in the nation. Out of 122, we were something like 18 or 19, and they came after me. And so I could read the writing. I went out stressed. Well, when you go out stressed, you got to go to a psychiatrist. So I go to the psychiatrist, and literally this is what happened. He said, what happened? What's going on? I said, they're doing this. They fired this person without cause. They're coming after me. They're lying on me. They're accusing me of stuff that did not happen. And I know they're setting me up and so forth. He said, okay, I can prescribe. This is exactly how it went. I can prescribe you 2 different drugs. I said, wait a minute, I'm the victim. You give the drugs to them. They're the ones doing that. Right? He looked at me and said, I'm a psychiatrist. I write prescriptions. I said, you don't have no cope class, how to deal with this, whatever? Oh, then you have to see the therapist and somebody else. This is what's going on. And if you act as if you're not in agreement with their medication, they act like they will not sign off on your papers. Or maybe they won't sign off on your papers. And so people are taking drugs for all kinds of situations. They give people more money if you own the drugs. Your schools get more money if the kids are on these psychiatric drugs and been labeled. Your group homes, all your systems get more money. A welfare mother, if she puts her kids on these drugs, get more money for that child. So you're actually paying the mother to double-cross her own children. What could be wrong with a child that you would give them the death penalty? It doesn't matter if it's only 4 out of 100. when none of them should have those drugs because they're not tested. They're based on a vote and not based on any scientific evidence. You know, John's going to speak on opiates. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in 2014, 10,000 people died from opiate overdoses. 15,000 died from psychiatric overdoses. They're attacking the opiates, but they're not attacking the psychiatric drugs. Think of this. Your commercials are telling you, do not smoke. Secondhand smoke kills. They're telling you vaping will kill you. How come they're not saying this psychoactive marijuana will kill you? How come they're not promoting that? Because that's not their intention, is to promote that, because those drugs are doing what they want them to do. You've heard people say, CBD, nobody's got a problem with that. It's the THC that's causing the psychoactive reactions and things like that. But that ain't what they're promoting. They mixing the two and trying to get you to absorb them all at once. And they're treating every addiction as a mental illness. Cigarette smoke, an addiction people have for a long time. Is it a mental illness? Well, they give you Chantix to get off of smoking cigarettes. Now, this is a funny thing. When you listen to the commercial, it says, with or without Chantix, listen to it the next time, you may still suffer from withdrawal. Well, if you're still going to suffer from it, then what are you taking it for? It can cause suicidal thoughts. It doesn't say or, it says and actions. So, in their wisdom, they will allow me to blow my brains out today so I don't die 30 years from now from cancer. Think about these things. So, how does that benefit? If and by the way, all addiction now, in the program statements, they're making you agree that you will treat with psychiatric drugs. Any addiction, when people are addicted, you got to treat them with psychiatric drugs. You go to any of these free programs, clinics, or whatever, they take you off heroin with methadone. They taking you off all these other drugs with other drugs. You're depressed, you get Prozac. What is the side effect of Prozac? Depression. You take an electric shock. 0 to 5-year-old children, that's in 7 states that they're doing that. 0 to 5. Now, let me tell you something about that. If we shock an adult, they know that it can kill brain cells. But if we shock a child and it kills the brain cells, then it's killing all the future brain cells that would develop off those cells that just got killed. So you're basically making patients for life. So you have the fox guarding the hen house telling the farmer that we need more foxes because somebody's eating the chickens. So how do we fix this? Now, I'm going to give you I'm reverse this time. It's 70% negative, now 30% good. How do we fix this? Let me go back to what I said originally. That David can beat Goliath. 6 people in 2003, a combination of the NAACP and the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, got together and went and walked every door of Congress and the U.S. Senate and presented the case that they were making parents put their kids on psychotropic drugs as a condition for being in school. 6 of us went down there and was able to get it to where George Bush signed into law that they could never do that again. 6 people. There were 600 lobbyists on the Hill. And somehow we snuck under the radar, got to all of these people, got a vote before they woke up and even knew we were there. You can do it if you intend to do it. One of the great philosophers, maybe it was Henry Ford, maybe, who said, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are right. Either way, you're right. So all we have to do is decide that we can, and then decide that we will. And if we do that, we will change the game of America. And if people are talking about being great, then let's fix the children, let's fix ourselves, let's bring psychiatry up under the law, let's make sure that medicine fulfills its Hippocratic oath of doing no harm. That's what we have to do to change this system. Now, you may not have the time. You'll say, we want to, Rev, but I'm 16 hours a day at my chiropractic office. I do medicine here and I work over there. And I got all these kids I mentor and I don't have time to do it. Then what you can do is support CCHR. That's what you can do. You don't know if 20 people in this room bought lifetime memberships for $300. It makes a difference. The database we get our information from costs $50,000 to bring you the facts and the truth about these psychiatric drugs. That's why they can't dispute it. These things cost money. Mailers to all of your legislators and stuff. It costs $2,000 a week to keep this on the forefront of the people who make the decisions. And I understand people are busy. I understand you're fighting a lot of different fires and trying to put them out. But you can. Most of the people here know they can help. Oh, I can't give $300 right now, but you can pledge $100 a month for a year. It's a lot of ways that you can do that so we can continue to fight. So that we got the money to fly to DC and lobby. We got the money to do these types of things. It's not really that difficult. It's just a willingness to sacrifice less than what you pay for cable. How many times do you go and eat at a restaurant that is nice and plush and pay that top dollar? You can save lives for that same thing. So all I'm asking you to do, in one way or another, to participate, to get involved, and let's change the system. If heroes can bring it to you, if people are willing to talk to you about it, at least you can do something to contribute and to help us fight this cause. We're trying to protect children. Children from 0 to 5 are being elected. Pregnant women are being electroshocked. The FDA says severe memory loss, seizures, which any of you know grandma seizures, tear brain cells up. All of this is right there. So with that, just like I know when to stand up, sometimes I know when to shut up. And if we have a little time, if somebody want to ask some questions, or if not, you just want to think about this. But what I ask is that you just come by and get a free DVD. Do what you can. $50 a month is $600. That helps. So with that, I say thank you. Anybody have any questions they want to ask? Anything? Everybody good? I was that good or that bad?